Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale around Yak Spin, and we have a fantastic show for you. New WvW Linkings is Guild Wars 2 Hyper Casual, and ANET cashing in on your Guild Wars 1 nostalgia, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and host of Zero to Hero on this very channel. He is waiting to see the new WvW Linkings to see what lucky server or servers will be spared by his path of destruction. Say hello to Jim.
That would require me to play something that can actually wreak a path of destruction first. At the moment, I find myself basically a CC bot, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it.
It keeps him locked into the path of destruction. You're like enabling paths of destruction. There you go.
There we go.
And he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, how quickly did he buy our gem store stuff this week? Say hello to Age.
Well, okay. Oh, damn it. So first of all, I had to come home because I don't want to use my stuff for work. I don't want to use PayPal, so I had to go to the bank, put money in the bank because I have a separate bank account for PayPal. And I had to play League of Legends with Malthanas and Toss, which I finally did.
Hey.
And then right afterwards, I bought the things.
I was wondering if you were going to be like trying to get a hold of ArenaNet, being like, do you have like a home shopping network? Can I like call in and be like, I just saw this thing, just put it on my card, and you know.
That wouldn't be a great idea.
That's connections if you got that. Speaking of someone that has all the dev connections, she writes for MMORPG.com and also her own site, MMORly.com. With the new current events going on, the only thing that can protect us is a powerful roar. Say hello to Robin.
Roar.
We're doomed. We're all doomed. Going back to that path of destruction.
I kind of like it when things in game get destroyed. It makes it interesting.
Very true.
Want to buy Blown Up Lion's Arch 2.0?
I mean, we could, but go blow up something else, you know?
Yeah. People are going to just stop building in Lion's Arch if that's the case. So, yeah, we got to build up another city or blow up another city. In game. You know, let me just put that out there.
We can blow up a city and then they could do what they should have done with Lion's Arch the first time and made an event of rebuilding it. And then we could all run around and be like, we built this city.
We built the city of rock and roll.
Oh. Funny enough, could lead into one of our community corner spots there. But let us jump right into it. This past week, we got our April 24th patch notes. So it started off with some Living World stuff. It just basically says, Peacemakers report a greatly diminished presence of awakened forces in certain territories. The Arcane Council nonetheless urges travelers to exercise caution until any remaining malevolent undead are proven to be entirely eradicated. So I think that's all they said about that blurb, but it seems like we actually got a new current events where I think they take place in the South Sun Cove, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Excellent deal.
Oh. But was that actually in the notes? I didn't see that, or in the actual forum notes.
Tried to make a thing. It didn't work.
Oh, okay. I thought that was. I thought that. So, I'm sorry. You should have. I'm sorry.
He's trying to add to the comedy of the show, and you ruined it.
Hey, you know, you could also take a small break from Awakened Invasions.
It's too late.
It's too late. We can always edit it. I hear South Sun Cove is great this time of year. Winky face. Smile.
Wow. All right.
Moving on.
So is it really in South Sun Cove? Let's make that clear.
Age is making a joke.
Okay.
Oh, but
I'm just saying for everybody
No, it
who's
actually
watching
is.
all of this happening, it might be unclear.
No, it actually is in South Sun Cove. There's a current events going on.
There we go.
Wait, earplugs were required?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, they're probably joking about my singing.
Oh,
Because remember, there's a delay.
right.
Well, but yeah, so there's a new current events thing. It seems pretty interesting, but I mean, have any of you had a chance to jump into it, or?
Not yet.
If not,
I'll say,
Is the leyline anomaly still a thing?
I mean, it's an event now. I don't know if you could. It's still under the label of current events. It's not the current
my
is of
extent.
current.
That's my extent of knowledge on current events. As much as I appreciate the efforts of the current events team, I don't feel any impetus to do them.
Mm.
Because
Well, I mean, they were particularly nice when they first started because there wasn't much else going on at the time. So for that, it was nice. But now, I don't know.
it's just, I think it's one of those things where you're talking about the season 2 update, where it was, you've got 2 weeks to do this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody moves on. I don't know. Like I kind of miss having that impetus to play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like these current events, like they're cool, but I don't feel any impetus to play because they're not really going anywhere.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the problem that I always struggle with too, is if I have all the time in the world to do something, I will just never do it because I'm always like, well, then I can just eventually do it whenever.
The problem is that some current events require players, like a number of players to actually
The
get
executioners.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's best to do them when they come out, like within 2-3 weeks before people's players start
doing them.
going
Yeah.
to other areas.
Yeah, Chet's bringing up another good point. Is the other problem with it is if you're not reading the patch notes, which, I mean, probably the majority of people that play the game probably don't. That's usually how MMOs work, games work in general.
Well, I don't know. They're nice in the fact that they can be a cool thing that you just discover, because like that when they first started, there weren't the achievement section or anything like that. It was just things that people randomly discovered that they then led into the actual events, which they further developed. So it's nice on that aspect, but again, yeah, for things that you need multiple people to do, it makes it difficult.
But yeah, and I think today actually Wooden Potatoes is running around doing it with people. So if you're watching this live, you can always, open up both so you can watch us as well. And maybe run around with him and do some of the current events.
Yeah, that
because
was
like you guys said, it's better with a group. I mean,
you at this point, it's one of those things where current events were kind of put in, I feel like, to be more events added to a zone, but some of them are scaled so hard that you can't do them unless you bring a dedicated group to do them.
Yeah.
Like the aforementioned executioner.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bandit executioners, you've got like 5 people. Still not working.
Are they still around in a thing?
The bandits, yeah, they're still around. And if you have the death mark in your inventory, the executioner still spawns.
Oh, wow. I haven't done them in so long because like I was doing them.
I still get the bounty things in my inventory when I go help someone, and I'm like, delete.
Yeah.
They are interesting, and I liked what Wispy was saying is like an in-game message to direct people. Maybe even using the thing that the little joke that I was horrible at reading at that like H put in, like hey, go take a small break. It's like you don't have to tell them, be like, go here and
or just have it be a mail from have it be like spam mail from the consortium saying like, yeah, Karka attacks are down 25%. Come visit the beach.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. They could have done something really neat with that, or like, because the whole South Sun thing originally was they were trying to get people to go there and, vacation, blah, blah, spend money and stuff. They could have been like, hey, we've done a lot of work and cleaned things up, and now it's a great vacation spot, come hang out or something.
But yeah, so, go try it out if, it should be fun. Like most of the stuff in the game. I don't know what to tell you. But also some other stuff in the patch notes. Fractal quality of life update. Fractal Avengers and Fractal Vindicators will no longer spawn during the capture point phase of the Solus. Okay, encounter in the Nightmare Fractal.
I believe that's the final boss.
Which is
it's been
that's when the then you have to play Bullet Hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got the 5 capture points, and you have to yeah. If there were Vindicators and Avengers showing up during that point,
it's a problem.
No,
yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah,
that'd be difficult, but yeah, it wouldn't be a good idea.
That'd be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, some raid quality of life updates and some other things. Norella's fire tornadoes will now be properly removed when the event completes. The cinematic will now only play when the players fail the bandit camp encounter. Zane will no longer attempt to teleport to players who are falling or gliding. That's actually, I would like that to stay in.
That is a very big thing, because there's a mechanic where one person has to go outside to stop bandits from building cannons. And so if a person like starts gliding but then teleports away from the group, that's like a huge DPS loss.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll blink to you while you're in the air coming back from the cannons.
Well, yeah, he'll blink to your location, like on the ground, just not in the air. That'd be amazing if he did that.
It would be amazing if he was in the air.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would have been funny if you just see him like fall.
Yeah, so that's a really very helpful change.
Awesome. Players will now be defeated when the bandit camp encounter fails in order to properly reset their cooldowns.
That's also
pretty
very
standard. Yeah. Projectiles from demonic tears in the final encounter can no longer be blocked on normal mode to make them consistent with their behavior in the challenge mode.
Oh, that's for Deimos. Yeah. Because I think you can use Aegis and not to get rid of them. I don't know.
Well, it looks like it's a little bit better now. So, some Mesmer changes. Underwater Mesmer clones now wear aquatic headgear that match what their summoner is wearing. So,
true balance. This must be what they were talking about when they were fixing Mesmers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me see if there's anything about Revenant underwater.
Revenant underwater doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we can get like Aquaman as a spirit or something.
Oh my God, Aquaman!
My ability to speak with fish is doing nothing for us.
Another Mesmer change. Signet of the Ether. This skill now reduces the recharge of Phantasm skills by 50% rather than 100% in PvP and World v World. So
that is pretty big.
Yeah, that makes Mesmers a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah.
From what I understand from some of the people feeding me information during Zero to Hero,
when is Zero to Hero, Malthanis?
When is Zero to Hero? Zero to Hero is Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where I play ranked and don't rage at people because it's pointless.
Oh, I might be able to join you for that some soon again. Yeah.
Gasp.
If you want me, I'm terrible still because I haven't played in a while on PvP, but
well, I mean, if you want to get back into it, I'd be happy to have you join.
Yeah.
That, and that's one person that I can actually trust to be relatively competent on my team.
I'm terrible. I just said.
No. See, that's the thing. I know you can improve.
You're competent in your terribleness. Like it's, you know where you're at.
Okay.
Well, that you won't actively just start being like, I feel like trolling now.
That's true. Yeah.
So there's that.
That's why he won't let me go there. I'll start going, man, I'm going to troll now.
Oh, yeah, Wispy, I think that would be the best patch note for Deo.
Oh.
Just no more Revenant in the underwater. It's just not a thing anymore. But yeah, apparently there is more coming down the pipeline for Mesmer. Ben P has apparently been posting on the forums that they have just apparently a Mesmer-centric balance patch that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Which means they're going to give Mesmers all the abilities so they can do everything and own everybody.
I don't have a link, Ozzy. I'd have to go fishing for it. I've just been seeing people talking on. People were coming into chat on Wednesdays mentioning it, and there were no links posted. But I'm just going off of hearsay from Twitch chat.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll try to find it for you, but it does make sense that due to that Phantasm change, there's just so many things.
Well, it was going to happen. I mean, it was such a massive change to class mechanics that I'm unsurprised that Mesmers are going to need a lot of touching up. On the bright side, I'm terrible at Mesmer still, so as the ceiling comes down and I rise up, I won't feel like I'm being nerfed.
You won't go down with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing, Wispy. Clones will be able to summon phantasms, which can summon clones, which can summon mesmers, which can, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
They're going to combine like a revenant. They're going to be like, I can summon Traherne, who then can summon 4 flesh golems, and
it's like playing freaking Phantom Lancer in Dota. Your clones summon clones, summon clones, summon clones.
Don't give them an idea. They'll be like, wait, that's already an in-game thing, and no one's we can put it in our game, and no one's going to complain, right? That's how game development works.
That works.
Yeah, that's how game development works, right? But the last thing, kind of in the patch notes, was for World. Don't get your hopes up here. Alpine Borderlands adjusted some of the out-of-bounds areas, so it not groundbreaking, not World alliances or whatever the revamp is that we're hoping for sometime this year. But, they're still fixing things in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's still care going on in World, which I think is the important thing to take away from that.
Yep.
But any other thoughts of the April 24th patch?
I guess check out current events. Get some free points there. Yeah.
Yes, I still believe in the revamp. I mean,
I believe.
I still believe in EQ next. So yeah.
The revamp of WvW, that's basically going to happen, I think. That's really the only way forward they can go with World versus World at all. So.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. That Ben P was supposedly working on a secret thing for World. So
yeah, I'm sure they're working on something. It's just
probably put another cat for the home instance.
Well, I mean, you got to think World versus World needs big changes to make, big overarching changes, and all of those aren't things that you can just do. You can't just start changing little things here and there. It's going to have to be a big thing. And anytime you change something on that kind of scale, it takes a lot of time and takes a lot of testing and playing with before it's even close to being out. And even then, once it's out, you're still going to have to tweak it. So I'm not surprised it's taking so long to do it with this.
Yeah. I don't remember where I read this, but I kind of heard there an event idea of just removing downstate and just having people die in Horror.
Oh, that
not as an event, not permanent. But
I was like,
that was a data mine thing that
would be interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if they put in something where, in maybe World versus World specifically, where if you're downstated and then you get back up and then you're downstated again within, I don't know, 5 seconds or something, some amount of time, you just die.
Well, does the feature in PvE and whatnot still work in PvP and World where after a certain while it's less and less time you have to get the person up?
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I don't know. I think it would be more interesting in World versus World where
maybe increasing that degeneration,
making it much more severe, because it would make more swing between the Zergs and all of that.
Well, you can only one person rallies off of a kill in WvW.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't you can't res someone in combat. If you are in combat, you can't res someone.
Okay.
I
Well, you
feel like
can't res someone that's fully dead.
Yeah.
You can't do someone that's downed.
yeah. For Zerg fights, I think it's like pretty clear cut when a Zerg's gonna win. So I think the downstate mechanic is okay in that regard. It's more like in small skirmish fights where they're like 5 to 10 players like going at it. That could probably make the difference there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. And I like, you know, with the World War thing, I don't think they've mentioned anything new, but I think it goes off of like what Robin was saying. They kind of talked about it kind of along the same lines as when Colin talked about legendary crafting, and there was just silence, and then unfortunately they had to eventually scrap it.
Yeah.
Until, you know, later. But it's like, you know, I think they talked about it very early on. So like I said, I'm hopeful to see it within this year, but wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe early 2019 or.
Yeah. Well, my guess is with the world versus world thing is they had a good general idea of where they were going with it. And that's why we heard something about it, that they have a revamp plan. But then I'm assuming at some point during that, something happened and they had to like change directions with what they were doing or whatever and change it up because it wasn't working the way they had wanted it to or whatever. Just realized that maybe what their plan was wouldn't have been a great plan long term. So then it took longer. And that, I mean, that's just my assumption because normally we don't hear about something and then wait like 2 years for something, you know, at this point. That's not how they generally do things.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's the problem is, you know, if they say, oh, we have this thing that we're working on, then it becomes, oh, that's 100% going to happen. So that's the current, and we've talked about this before about, you know, saying things or not saying things just because of the internet reaction to it. So I'm not really all that surprised about the kind of radio silence we get with WvW because, I mean, look at how the community reacted to the desert Borderlands. I do not find it surprising in the least.
Yeah. But, you know, maybe we're just not seeing it right. Maybe we're just too casual for World v. World. Speaking of casual, and if it is a bad thing, a post popped up on Reddit from Ebon Blood, and basically they wanted to. The way they looked at it basically was the outside perception of Guild Wars 2 as a hyper casual kind of a game, and basically judgments based from launch, and they were kind of looking for more recent ads of the game is fun to be directed to more avid gamers and improvements since launch. So they kind of base like some of these like certain things, which I love to pick apart. So the way their list of what's bad about hyper casual reputation, according to the Reddit user, Ebon Blood. So, but well, the first one was association with having no goals or objectives, which I don't know if we want to do these one by one or.
I'm gonna jump in there. I just achieved a goal this past Wednesday. I finally put together the Ascension. Your goals are what you make of them. Go and do.
Yeah. Don't
have the game handhold you.
I think I think the person's not saying there is no goals or objectives. I think it's just that that's what the reputation of a hyper casual game comes with.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, I suppose at this point I'm just refuting the fact that it's like Guild Wars 2 isn't what I would call hyper casual because
I mean, it gets that one because, you know, everybody says all the time you can jump in and out of it easily, which automatically translates to people as it being super, super casual.
And it's like, I think this is comes from a lot of people that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the MMO gamer has probably aged, you know, like, I mean, gamer in general, I think the average gamer is now supposed to be like 33 or 35 or something like along those lines.
30s, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the worst part is, we're not getting probably as many youngins because we're not the main spotlight anymore. MMOs aren't the main spotlight, sadly.
It's all about
But also
Fortnite
in a good
now,
way.
baby.
Yeah, it's like now we're in the battle royale, But, it was zombies, it was horde mode, it was, MOBAs, it's mobile games. It's like, MMOs, and it might come around again. We don't know, but, I think the positive side to it potentially is, there's developers and indie devs that are still making MMOs, and I think they're making them more niche, which that's kind of what MMOs were before World of Warcraft kind of was the juggernaut. Everybody was like, I want that money, which I don't blame a business. I mean, they're a business.
I'll say MMOs will become like top tier again once VR reaches a good state.
Oh my God, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because when VR hits like that really good state where like visuals are really nice and people don't get motion sickness and all that stuff.
And there's actual haptic feedback.
I was just gonna say, I was watching I think the Rooster Teeth's The Know, and like just briefly they were talking about haptic feedback. Like, I guess one of the guys bought like a subwoofer type back piece thing for their chair, but then they started talking about that I guess Disney is supposedly with MIT and I think a couple other places, like I want to say CMU was part of it, but they were making a full like bodysuit haptic feedback thing, which I'm like,
there's already a vest that can simulate gunshots from if you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Hopefully not fully. Like, don't crank that up to like
but
10.
It makes the feeling of like the impact basically.
Yeah.
So that you feel it a bit.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, are we talking just like prosthetics, or are we talking like full Sword Art Online, full dive kind of stuff? Like people are going to get trapped in games by malicious developers.
I'm pretty sure there'll be like, there'll probably have to be like heavy like sign-offs for those types of games. Definitely. And if those go like worldwide, there's definitely there has to be some sort of thing added in place.
Once they start saying like this is going to disable your like neural, systems, I'm probably going to skip the first generation. Call me crazy. Like,
yeah,
I was never a fan of buying the first generation of like iPhone or, any like Android thing. I'm going to skip one that's affecting my neural, like.
So. You don't want something to messes with your brainwaves, Deo? Come on, it'll be fun.
I have plenty of that stuff. Wait, that sounded dodgy.
Well then, on that note.
And Wispy brings up a good point. Look, they put basically a battle royale arena in the PvP lobby. It's
yeah. No holidays to Mars. Well, Elon Musk is apparently building a cyborg dragon, so.
Which I have questions about, because cyborg means look, listen.
It was an alive thing and then had robotic parts added.
Right.
So that means Musk has a live dragon somewhere.
Right. Like where did he get a dragon? Or is he taking some kind of animal and making it into a dragon with robot parts, and that's what he's calling a cyborg?
I mean,
and before he names it Kralkatork.
I was to say, I mean, what if he's Scarlet? He was maybe trying to make a cyber dragon.
Oh my god.
There we go. I want to see him in red. I want to see him in orange pigtails. Come on, ArenaNet. Send him like some orange pigtails. He'll probably be like, what?
Inks has the timey hat. We need to get Elon Musk the Scarlet hat.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be amazing.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, I'll slowly bring it back around to Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2 being casual.
Right.
Yeah. But another topic they brought up was, and it kind of goes with what Jim was saying about getting a legendary, was association with having no rewards for time investment. hey, Jim, how long did that take you to get? Like,
well, every step of all 4 pieces of the Ascension that you need to go through requires that you play 3 PvP games for 15 days. So you have to play at least 60 days during a ranked season in order to get through all of that. The final tier required 60 wins to complete. Mm-hmm. That was one of the meta achievements. So any of the legendaries, yeah, sure. You could, like the tier 1 legendaries, you can just have the gold for. And I guess, yeah, you can throw your credit card at the screen and buy gems, convert to gold, and buy any of the Gen 1 legendaries. But you still had to invest time because you had to make the money to buy the gems, to buy the gold, to buy the legendary.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of investments.
And at that point, that's your choice if you did that, because you could still, I mean, I think we've all made legendaries of some sort. You can put a time investment in. And I know there's been times where I'm like, I'm so close. I could just swipe, my card real quick. But then I'm like, no, I'm playing a game. Like, but teach their own that do that. But
see, even your dog is mad about that.
I know they're outraged by it. But yeah, I mean, even talk like, hey, you got legendary armor. If you like, how long did that take you? I mean, people broke down the math for that, and even War reward legendary armor. We talked about that last time.
We were talking about that during Spirit of Hero this past week. Go take care of your dog. We'll continue the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, legendary armor for me, I think it was 2-3 months after everyone could actually make it, I actually made mine. I would say there are definitely different rewards for the amount of time you invest. I mean, in PvP there are rewards, there's rewards, raids there are rewards, fractals there's buffs that you can get for your that you can unlock over time, buffs, like that. And there's rewards every living story episode, things like that.
And all of the meta achievements for every living story episode have a reward to them. Like, so unique skins. There's plenty of time sink in this game, and very little of it is attached to crafting. And there's not too many time gated mechanics.
Try and make a Gen 2 legendary. There's a lot of crafting.
Well, that and let's buy ascended gear from PvP or WW vendors. And like, oh, by the way, we created a new daily limit for crafting things.
Oh, geez.
Well, no, it's not that you have a daily limit. It's just you still have to use Damask, Deldrimor, or Elonian leather to craft them. And it's just, I've ranted about the Grandmaster crafting marks before. I'm not going to get back into it. But I think we've fairly established that there are rewards for spending a significant amount of time in game working towards a goal.
There are also like short-term rewards you can work towards too. Like you can easily pick things to do to accomplish goals as you log on every time.
Yeah, no, that's I was just about to say that is both a short-term and long-term goal. Because the short term is literally you just log into the game every day. The long term is, after a month, you get a box with just a flat out 2% gold increase to gold drop increase. And then 2, you have these other 4 boxes that aside from the experience box, which is utterly useless, the other 3 boxes actually have decent rewards in them. I'm actually kind of insulted that the experience box is still there at the end, just for the simple fact that tomes of knowledge are just kind of.
I only see the laurel box. That's the only thing I see.
The crafting material box is not bad. The ascended crafting material box.
It's not bad.
Like that's I've picked that a couple times. I've mostly been getting the laurel box because I need T6 mats like mad because I've been collecting for the Ascension, so there's that. But
go ahead.
We were just basically establishing all of the caveats.
The time investments.
Yeah, there are time investments. Yes.
Yeah. Another thing which I think could open up a can of worms of some other things that happened this week was association with having no significant competitive scene, which instantly made me think of. I don't know if it happened this week, but I know Wooden Potatoes, I think, posted the video of him and kind of Jebro kind of debating it. and like they would actually talk about that kind of stuff where, you know, I think they pushed for it. It was there, but depending on where you fall, it's based off the players too, not just ArenaNet themselves.
Right. I think one of the bigger problems is more rewards in PvP.
Yep.
You had this massive influx when they added in the Ascended gear. And I'll admit there were plenty of people who would just kind of fail their way through and just get their free Ascended gear.
Yep.
I got mine a hell of a lot faster because I tried. And there was a cap to the number of tickets you could get in that season. So I hit my cap really quickly. Now there's no cap, but you have to deal with the Grandmaster. Back on the Grandmaster crafting marks. Now they have the Grandmaster crafting marks, and nobody wants to PvP.
Yeah.
Because the Grandmaster crafting marks are bullshit.
Especially for PvP. I mean...
Yeah, because there are characters that don't ever set foot outside of the Heart of the Mists because people don't want to deal with PvE.
Yeah.
They don't want to take the time to craft to get to 400 to be able to buy the Ascended gear. And they just want it for the skin, which I think is the only reason they added in the exotic skin item for everyone. But I mean, at that point, just get rid of the mark.
And to be fair, I would be fine with, because you can use the Mystic Forge to upgrade the Ascended gear to legendary quality. That's where you should have the marks, because if you're still going with the idea that legendaries are supposed to be showing, conquering of every single game mode, so at least they have to step foot in PvE and do kind of crafting stuff. That's where I would be fine with it. But like you're saying, Ascended gear, like to get it, I think that should not have the marks in there. But I think it's just the problem is since War v World, I think has it as well. Yeah, and fractals now, it's like they kind of just blanketed it.
No, every vendor where you can buy Ascended gear, you have to pay, other than raid. You don't need them for raids, you just need magnetite shards.
Yeah.
But every other vendor, you need Grandmaster crafting marks.
I think like in terms of the rewards for PvP, it's not like I have a problem with the rewards themselves. It's just the marks are kind of, but the rewards aren't competitive. And what I mean by this is that like literally everyone can get like everything. Like
they're basically a participation award. If you put the time in.
Yeah, and this is where I like versus World, where yes, World versus World is more of a time sink, but it's spread, like there's a distinct difference between someone who actually World versus Worlds and someone who doesn't.
Because the pip count is...
So yeah, that's why it works a lot better in that situation. And in PvP, I feel like there needs to be some sort of stopgate, as it were.
End of season rewards.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is people like, sure, it hurts if you can't attain certain rewards because it feels bad, but at the same time, having rewards that you could potentially work your way towards and earn that not everybody could get gives people an incentive to really work on something and work doing that, and makes them want to do that, as opposed to, well, it doesn't matter how well or bad I do this thing, everybody can get this. So
which I think how Jim was saying, people lost their way to the
when Inks was on, he said he was playing as Revenant, and he lost his way in ranked all the way to a full set of Ascended gear.
Yeah. I don't even mind if like the top rewards are available for people who aren't as skilled in PvP, but it should take them a really long time to get it.
Yeah.
Also, I want to interject here, and my talking about Inks and failing his way to a full set of Ascended gear, that is not an indictment of Inks. Every time he ever said it, he basically made it seem like he was doing it as an indictment of the system.
Yeah.
And that he didn't really care too much to put a lot of investment into PvP. He just really wanted the Ascended gear. So, yes, was he abusing a system? A little bit, but I can't really fault him when getting Ascended gear in other manners is just as onerous. It feels sometimes. Yep. So I'm not yelling at Inks. I just want to put that out there because people will take things the way they want to on the internet.
Well, I am Inks. I'm challenging you to I don't know. I almost said PvP, but then I'd have to actually PvP.
The thing, like what I'm
you.
thinking of is like one of the things for, just to use the example of WoW, is with their arena seasons and stuff. You reach a certain ranking in there, you get them out, and you get a title that nobody else can have. And those have remained, and it changes every season. That's a big thing too. So like it remains a thing that if you see somebody with either of those things or both those things, you're like, wow, that person did really great in that. And there's not anything comparable for the PvP of Guild Wars 2 right now. And I think having that would make a huge difference in, like, not just because, you know, you people like to show off stuff, but it's also really cool to watch somebody work their way through it. So you could have streamers working on getting to those things, and that would build hype for it and pull more people in. It's like a self-feeding system, and we don't have that right now.
That's every time we talk about competitive, I talk about League of Legends. League has a reward system where it's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, challenger are the 7 ranks they've got.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit gold and you are gold by the end of the season, you get a border, and like a border for your loading page. You also get a unique champion skin. And then as you get to further tiers up above that, there are more rewards that come through.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be in. And I realize that we've talked before about how missing out, to use a bit from the Bitcoin market, FOMO, fear of missing out, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that has been a thing in competitive games forever.
Yeah. I mean there's a reason it works well.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Heroes Misward weapons.
Mm.
There were only so many tickets that were available for that. I think at most people could have 3 or 4 of those weapons right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want the whole set because they just look good.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, honestly, when it was like 3 or like you could get like 3, and I think the Axbend, how they placed, I think we were able to get like 2, and then if you wanted to get a regular one, but I mean, come on, you don't want to get a regular one. You want the wind blowing off of them.
Well, I mean, that's a big reason why if I'm using a sword on a character, I always use that skin, because one, I like the skin, but also like
it means something to you.
Like, yeah, it took effort, and I can't just like, you know, go and get the other ones.
Just like I use the elemental sword on my Weaver, because people hate me for having the elemental sword.
I have it. I'm not mad at you.
Well, it's because you have it.
But yeah, it's like, honestly, like I was saying, was when we were like cashing our tickets for that stuff, part of me was like, I'm not a big World v. Worlder, but I was like, I definitely want another tournament. Granted, at the time, you know, revamp some things. I mean, you know, it was, but you know, it was in. I was like, oh, I can't wait for another tournament, and we're due.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say though that another part of the competitive side is not necessarily the rewards, but the actual lack of competitiveness in Guild Wars PvP, at least for me. It's just that the structure isn't there right now. I know balance is one major thing a lot of people have problems with. I understand why the balance is the way it is. Just because it's an MMO in and of itself, that's it's not a pure PvP game.
Yeah.
The other thing is that just one thing that kind of irks me about it as well is the manipulation of leaderboards, things like that.
Yeah.
And it just like all like the combination of all these things, and just players always raging, trolling like half the time, and you know, it's just it's not a good thing where people aren't. It feels like reporting isn't being managed well, or it doesn't feel like, I don't know if it is, but it just doesn't feel like it. And all those combination of things kind of just makes it a poor experience.
And I think I said that at the beginning, I don't think this is all directly like this is all on ANET. Like you're kind of saying, the people like manipulating stuff, that this is it equal, or if not, I would say in some cases more, like in the PvP situation, these people that are fixing this stuff, you know, that probably does hit those devs hard. It's like they put all that effort in, and it's like, oh, people are just cheating about it. Like I'd probably throw up my arms and be like, well, why am I trying to do this if people are just going to try to cheat it? Like,
right.
So
yep. Why bother?
On the opposite spectrum of where I do see it, like the game being competitive, is that the community tournaments that people hold, like UGO, thing Royce and Win Potatoes are going to try to do, like those, like kind of just spur competitiveness. Like even Teapot's Elite Rating Party, that is competitive nature in and of itself. I don't know if World vs. World could like do anything like that. That'd be neat, but
that's the tournaments, but
yeah.
Hopefully we get into a stable place to bring those of some sort back.
Yeah, and I know, like it was the article massively put out with an interview with Mike Z. Is like they're for PvP in particular, they're trying to provide the tools to allow competitiveness to evolve in of itself by the community. So like adding the tools to facilitate 10v10 tournaments for like that GW style for 2v2 tournaments, things like that.
That
would be good.
We've seen more change in PvP in the past 2 years than we've seen in the previous years that the game existed. So I know people say that, they don't care about PvP, that they don't do anything about PvP. Well, that's patently false, because they've put more time into PvP recently than I can honestly remember. So,
I mean, to go back to his statement of basically the association with having no significant competitive scene, I mean, it seems like we are kind of almost agreeing from that argument, but I would say that
not for lack of trying.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's not. I don't think you could just solely point the finger at ANET themselves. Is the case?
I wouldn't say it's like we have no competitive scene, but in terms of significant, that's very subjective.
That is another good point. It's like you want it to be a League of Legends. That's never gonna happen. I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, there was a period of time where they were doing the tournaments and stuff, and there was like a lot of involvement. A lot of people were watching it, and like it was getting pretty popular.
It was only bad. It was only bad at the time because of the meta, because it was the bunker Condi meta, and like people got mildly amused when someone went down.
Yeah, but even with that, like. It's a PvP mode that like you don't have to know a whole lot about how it works or how the systems work or what's going on to be able to just watch it. Like even people who didn't play Guild Wars 2, I remember when we were at PAX East with them and they were doing the tournament. Even people who didn't play Guild Wars 2 were watching the tournaments because like it's easy to follow, it's easy to understand what's happening, what the goal is, and like when teams are doing well or doing bad and when things turn over. So like there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot that can be capitalized on there, but at some point they just let it all go and I don't know why.
Yeah. So for me, for this point, I would say yes and no, because like there have been tournaments, there are still tournaments going on. It's just that they are not like, if you are a person who doesn't really know much about these tournaments, you won't know about them, period. So.
Press X to agree.
Yeah, I would like to see, almost they have like a more stable community corner or something along those lines where, like, because I know they tweeted out, or not tweeted, well, I know they did a blog post about Jebro's thing, and it's like, I'd like to see them kind of do that on a more stable, even if they're not supporting it like with gems or something, because I heard the backstory or supposedly the stories with Teapot's thing and stuff like that. Even I feel like even if they're not going to financially support it, I think they need that strong community. I mean, guys, goes back to they wanted the community to be the advertisers, but they're not going to give them the limelight for it.
Yeah. This would be the easiest way. Allow people to like submit like emails to like wherever saying, hey, we're going to do this event. Like you don't have to ask for gems or anything like that. And then like at the end of the week, they just put out a blog post saying, here are the community events that are happening in these coming short time. And they can like accumulate a list so that it comes out like there's enough content to put in a blog post, and enough time for people to actually check it out, type of deal.
It'd be
Easy
a matter of them having the person to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to say, oh, just have Ruby do it, because like I'm pretty sure she's already busy enough as is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it all depends on the people that have it, like, because they kind of do that a little bit with, like, they have that the streamers this week thing,
streaming schedule. Yeah.
But and like you're saying, I think it's almost like the same format, like a little blurb of like,
it's literally the same format.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure I just lost Krista for the rest of the night.
Uh-oh.
She just she bought the Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5 collectors.
Yeah, you're not seeing her again.
She's on the couch for the rest of the night, I'm pretty sure.
The next thing that they brought up was the association with requiring no skill, strategy, or challenge. And I mean, I guess we'll take it as a general thing, and then maybe break it down to each game mode. Did they get? I was gonna say, I don't think they really gave a basis for it, just in general.
Fractals raid, you absolutely need some sort of skill.
WvW,
PvP, WvW. WvW, I would say in terms of Zerging, I feel like you just need to understand the basic strategy of following the tag.
Mm-hmm. There's still some individual skill there, because you need to see what's coming at you and you have to react appropriately. You have to have the awareness to be like, okay, we're moving back. We're not birds. We don't have ululation. We don't have that instinctual, oh, hey, the guy next to me is moving that way. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So WvW, I think, is probably the lowest, aside from just open world PvE in core Tyria.
Yeah.
Because Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire are definitely higher skill requirements than core Tyria.
Yeah, it's very annoying. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's absolutely no skill.
I mean, it also depends on like what you're considering skill. Like, some people consider, I don't know, I can't even think of like a specific way to put it, but some people consider like, using your skills in the maximum way and having your build be in the maximum way to be the only indicator of skills. And if you can do something without that, then you don't need the skill.
I would say it's if you don't stand there and press 1, it requires skill at some point.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're saying kind of pressing 1 or just like one key. It's like theoretically, or you kind of have jumping puzzles where you're kind of just hitting spacebar. Those take
so hard.
You're pressing forward and you're turning.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
4 buttons: W, A, and D. Sometimes S. So sometimes
or it's mouse, because you can move and turn with mouse.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since forever.
# all of my sarcasm.
But yeah, I mean, granted, I was going to say when I saw this, I was going to kind of compare it to when I played WoW. It might have changed, and I know, Robin, you play WoW, so you could probably tell me if it has changed. But if you're comparing open worldness to Guild Wars 2 or WoW, I'll take Guild Wars 2 because there's like, for me, there's always been like open, the events that nowadays when people say it, like, oh, to Quaddle, it's like you don't have to get on comms or anything. It's like, yeah, but it's because it's been out for,
It's solved. It's a solved fight.
Yeah. It's like it's been kind of just, done so many times. It's fine. But
yeah, the comparison with WoW, like Guild Wars 2 is definitely beyond on that, because even on the newest expansion, Legion, when it first came out, we had our world bosses and stuff, and you had to group up with other people. You also still didn't ever have to do any strategy at all. You had a tank, you had people healing the tank, and everybody else just like slashed it. There were a couple of bosses where it was a little bit more complicated, but not that much more complicated. like with her gym, I still don't understand what happens in that fight whatsoever. It's a crazy fight, but we kill it all the time. I have no idea what happens, and I'm a tank, so
you just stand there and growl at the boss, and that's
right.
But technically, wouldn't the combat systems be kind of a factor in terms of it as well?
Yeah,
because you can't really you can't dodge and wow.
No, I mean, you have to actually run out of things.
Yeah.
But Guild Wars 2 is far more active on that. And like just even the exploration part, I don't know why it is, but exploring in any of the Guild Wars 2 zones is by far more rewarding and interesting to me than exploring the WoW ones. It's just I find wandering around the WoW zones often frustrating and annoying, and often I don't know why I did this. There was no point. Whereas Guild Wars 2, when I do it, I'm like, oh, look, I found these little people and they're having a conversation. Oh, but this conversation relates to something that happened back in the city. Oh my God, like there's little things like that.
Oh, hey, it started an event.
Yeah. So
that actually fighting in the open world in World of Warcraft, when I remember that, is just I could just sit there and smack my keyboard and it wouldn't matter what abilities I used. If I was max level, I was fine. If you are in a level appropriate zone in Guild Wars, even in Ore, if you just walk up to something and just spam your abilities, there's a lot of stuff that will just flat out kill you.
Yeah.
Like, even in Ore to this day, I never got to experience pre-nerf Ore, but yeah, the giant walks up to you and it's just like slugs, stomp.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like they're requiring no skill stuff kind of feels like they're just talking about like doing just like open world, like going after the hearts, which if that's what you're considering as like it's like I feel like that's kind of the entry level to all that stuff. Because I remember, they always said this, don't think of the hearts as quests, think of them as places where the events will start. It's like the events are what will be like the challenging thing. But yeah, if there's no events going around for whatever reason, you want to get that heart done, yeah, go pick flowers for the guy or whatever his dumb task is. Like it feels minuscule and insignificant, but I just am amazed. Like
clearly there is a level of skill investment even in open world for Guild Wars 2, to bring it back to the whole reason we're having this discussion.
Yeah.
Like, there is a point to this. There's skill required. You can't just I will often go back to the story I had about me fighting the deer when I was level 17 and it was level 22 in Kessex Hills. When I first started playing the game, that deer kicked my ass. Why? Because I'm used to standing in front of things and auto-attacking it to death.
Yeah.
Because that was me coming in from World of Warcraft.
And yeah, Wispy brings up a good point. So if hearts are no skill, possibly according to this person, is a traditional go kill 10 rats, then come back any different? And I totally agree. That's basically what hearts are like in this game when there's no events around, is go do this for me. It's
Well, so the thing with hearts, originally there weren't hearts, just because it was kind of like a more exploring and blah. But then people complained that they had no direction of where to go and didn't know what to do. So it felt like there was nothing to do. So they added in hearts to kind of, give people a bit more direction and to lead them towards things. And then, of course, people do what they always do, and they focus, and they made the hearts the thing, and that's the main thing, and everything else just happens to happen around them.
Yeah, then they did away with hearts, and then they brought them back and made them daily. Yeah.
On the bright side,
everybody got mad there were no hearts in Heart of Thorns.
I know, and those are the people that I hate.
Hate is a very strong word, Dale.
And the thing is, though, fiery passion.
You can completely ignore the hearts in all of the new zones. Like, you don't have to do their specifically listed tasks and just wait for the events that are in the area, and you'll finish the hearts.
Oh, wait, don't you have to do some of the hearts in order to buy the mounts? But once you do that, you're fine. I
mean, yes, but for the most part, you can generally just ignore the hearts.
Yeah.
And just complete events in the area, and you'll get them as just collateral to you playing the game.
Yeah, like I remember like help like when someone maybe returns or like starts playing the game and they're like going around and doing the hearts like, oh, so I just pick up weeds or something like that. I'm like, well, I mean, you can look at them as like a quest, but I always look at them as like a heart's kind of like each individual rep, because it's like if you do the events around there, you actually gain parts of like the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, but then everybody's like, no, I'm just gonna do the event and like just treat it like a quest. I'm like, oh no, it's no.
Yeah, think about it this way: you can either have hearts or put up signs. Which one you want?
Oh, come on, that can't be the two options.
There's the only two options.
Isn't there like see Bodie McBoatface? Like,
can we move on to the last point, because this one's weird to me, and I don't want to talk about signposts. I don't
actually we've been talking about this for a while too.
Yeah.
So we should probably
yeah, the last one that they brought up was association with being boring for avid theme park gamers.
What does that even mean?
Oh, so I think they mean like so take World of Warcraft again. It's a theme park game where you have, you know, your very linear stories that you do, your quests, you have your specific things that you go do. You go do PvP or you go do whatever. It's very directed. You're told where to go to do whatever things are. Whereas Guild Wars 2, like, you're pointed in directions. It gives you some idea of, hey, if you go over here, there's a thing over here, like, you know, hearts. You can look at your map and like, oh, there's hearts over here. You talk to the, not guards, but the scouts. Thank you. The scouts who will talk about, you know, these are the things around here. If you're running around and you're listening, you'll hear conversation, which can lead you towards events and stuff, but it's less you go do this is what you're expected to do, and oh, this is an option. This is, you know, Guild Wars 2 is kind of like a theme park MMO put in a blender with the sandbox.
I was gonna say it straddles that line depending on.
Yeah. One of the things I actually really enjoyed about the personal story is that the first personal story I completed was on my human elementalist. And I was like, there are so many places I just have not gone on this map.
Mm-hmm.
And in most other games, the story will, in most other MMOs, the leveling story will pretty much take you everywhere.
Yep.
Just you will connect the dots and complete the whole map. But in Guild Wars 2, if you just book right through the personal story, you get maybe 30% of the map uncovered.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was going to say, kind of like what you and Robin are saying, is it kind of straddles the line of both of those. And it's evident in this person's complaint topic. The last topic, association with being boring for avid theme park gamers. So, you know, it's not a fun theme park game. It's not freeing enough. The first problem, association with having no goals or objectives. You're complaining about, like, if you don't see it, I can't help you. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a good game for people who want to be told everything that they need to go do and where to go do it and be led by the nose. Like, it's not a good game for people who prefer to play that way.
There's also a lot of story where you have to just stand around and wait for NPCs to start talking.
Yep.
Or another event. Guys, where are you going? There's another event gonna happen. Nope, too late. Someone linked a waypoint.
Okay. So, like, we kind of shown that Guild Wars 2 doesn't have any of these, like, but how do we show this to non-Guild Wars 2 players? I think that's the question now.
I mean, my thing always is trying to get people in to try it. And I'm just like, you know, you can try the game for free. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. And I think it helps, especially for people who aren't, even people who are used to sandbox games. For people who aren't used to Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1, like going in with somebody, you know, to be like, okay, this is the general things, you know, pick a thing, we can run around and do it or whatever. Just give them an idea of all the options is really the best way, because honestly, like, I feel like sometimes when I explain the game to my friends who play more theme park MMOs, I sound kind of insane. Just because I'm like, there's so many things and all this stuff and all over, and like, you can say that there's a lot of really good exploration and like things that you can discover, but to them it sounds like, well, yeah, but I have that in this game, and it's really hard to crystallize in on why it's different without having them experience it in the first place.
That I think is one of the things with Guild Wars 2 is you just kind of have to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of the things that I had friends complain to me about, is that it wasn't, they didn't know what they were doing. Like they didn't know what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
But that particular friend was, he was pretty much a hardcore World of Warcraft player. Like that was the only MMO he had really ever played. I think he did a little bit of EverQuest before that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like the formula just was completely against what he thought.
Yeah. Well, like for me, WoW was my first MMO. I had never played any MMO before that. And I think before Guild Wars 2, the only other MMO I had played was Star Wars The Old Republic. I think I'm remembering the timing right. That was out before Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have a lot of experience with other types of Guild Wars 2 or MMOs, and it was weird for me on some levels, but at the same time I think that helped me like Guild Wars 2 more, because it was familiar enough that I could hook in and like recognize things and do stuff, but it was also different enough that I was like, wow, this is completely different. And I don't know. I think it really depends on the individuals.
Arlie, turn off your camera and turn it back on.
I was going to type that.
You guys messed things up.
I didn't.
Well, unless you want to be aged for the rest of the night.
I am aged. Rawr.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's not going to be a game for everyone, and like I said, it kind of goes back to what we're talking about at the beginning of MMOs are kind of becoming more niche, which I don't think we're slowly getting out of the AAA MMO genre. Like you can see, like there's a surplus coming from like indie devs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I think we're also moving a bit away from MMOs trying to be everything for every gamer. Like MMOs really focused on for a while covering everything and doing everything so that was all the gamer needed. And now I think devs are more recognizing that, if you focus your attention, you can do certain things really well, and that can be why people play your game. And it's okay if people play other games to get other things. And I think in the long term, that's a better place for the genre to be, rather than them trying to be everything.
And it's just one of those things where I look at it, and Zachryox brings up a good point, is that a portion of the end game is kind of hidden behind the achievement panel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not so much directing you there, other than things popping up being like, hey, you got progress towards this achievement.
Yeah.
Or collection, or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it's one of those things where you get the pop-ups, and honestly, you get the pop-ups at a pretty rapid rate on a new account, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like skin unlock, skin unlock, skin unlock.
Right. And that's the other thing, I think, that Guild Wars 2 in some ways, oh my god, the typing.
It's not as yours used to be.
I think in some ways Guild Wars 2 has going against them is that for a new player, there is so much that you are shown and seen right away that it can be overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming, and especially if you go and you buy the expansion to start with and you get this boost that's like, hey, use this boost, which as a new player is not a good idea. It's a bad idea. Don't boost. But I don't know. I think that's an issue because it can be a bit of overload all at once.
Yeah. But
rapid behind the scenes typing.
Yeah, sorry everybody, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, if someone doesn't like it, it's hard to change people's minds. I mean,
yeah. I mean, also the thing is if you don't like a thing, you don't like a thing. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it's like I hope they're not trying to get some like I hope Arena's not trying to go after the demographic of I really want to get someone that doesn't like our game, like because they're probably gonna be more of a problem than a support to the community or strengthen the community. They're gonna possibly drive
angry. Yeah, like they'll just drive people away.
Yep.
But speaking of things that tend to anger people and drive people away, this isn't directly related to Guild Wars 2, but it could possibly have an effect on it down the road, which is, of course, the whole loot box debacle type thing. And there's been more of a recent update on that with the an article from Eurogamer talking about now Belgium declares loot boxes gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Which
they go on
been coming down the pipeline for a while. We've been watching that.
Yeah, I was saying, I think there's like multiple other places that recently have kind of jumped on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like it's only really targeting Star Wars Battlefront 2, FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Oh no, Battlefront 2 actually isn't getting hit by this.
Really?
Well,
because their loot boxes are cosmetic only now.
Oh,
well,
right.
yeah, I was gonna say, since now that they've kind of dealt with it, it doesn't really affect them as much now.
It's the funny thing is that they're the ones that caused this, and they're not getting anything with this.
Wow.
Now, this is, and I've been following a lot of this through Jim Sterling's reporting on it.
Wait, aren't Overwatch's loot boxes all cosmetic?
I don't know why Overwatch was involved in it. I don't.
They are all cosmetic.
Well, but I was saying, I don't know how Battlefronts work. Can you earn them at a regular pace? Because Overwatch, you only get a free one every time you level, which slowly becomes further and further.
Okay, that might be a thing.
I think EA's are entirely in-game earned. I don't know if they've re-enabled. I don't think you can buy loot boxes. I'm not 100% sure.
I think that's right. I think they disabled all of that.
Like for the last I heard, I don't know if they ever reinstated real world cash transactions, but if they did, it was for direct purchases of the cosmetic items.
Okay.
Yeah, like Wispy saying, EA dodged the bullet after loading the gun. That's pretty much how it is.
And Fairfire, I would have to look into it specifically to see why Overwatch is getting tagged by this.
But I think that point about how you earn them in game and how it slows down is probably why that would make sense.
Yeah, but
and I was gonna say because I think a lot of it revolved around a primary way. The main way you can get them is through this, spending cash for this risk or something. But so I think Overwatch might fall under that for that reason, since, like I said, the only way I'm pretty sure you can do it is by leveling. So that slowly diminishes. Is there a level cap for Overwatch, or is it just indefinite?
No, it just keeps going. It rolls over.
The other thing I was thinking about why, say, like heroes might not be included in this is if you get a duplicate of something you already have, you can re-roll. I don't think you can do that in Overwatch. So one of the other aspect about what people were debating whether it's gambling or not gambling is if you're gambling, you have a chance to lose. And if you're doing a loot box and you buy it, you always get something. That's the thing. But if you get something that you already have, that is essentially losing because you didn't actually gain anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be another aspect of why Overwatch is effective on that.
And, I think some people kind of say, like, could this happen with Guild Wars 2? Which I think they're going to probably be one of the safer ones, because while there is an in-game, while there is a,
loot
you
box.
can buy it with money, but there is an in-game method of, acquiring them. I mean, you can just transfer gold to gems and
Yeah, I mean, and
get
you
it
can keep
anytime you
doing
want.
it. It doesn't get harder and harder to do it once you've done it.
But one of the things that it's kind of something that Jim Sterling said, and it kind of rings true, and it's something that's stuck with me every time I think about this whole debacle, is that people are looking at journalists, the games journalists, who are like, well, I hope you're happy now. They're fine. They're throwing regulation at the games industry, and games journalists didn't want regulation on these things. They said it was going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not no one ever wants to, like, that's why we're all happy about the ESRB, because that's a completely self-regulated thing that the gaming industry did, and Peggy in the EU. But the ESRB didn't want regulations because it would be people outside the industry throwing regulations at something that they didn't wholly understand. Generally speaking, I'm not saying that older people in general don't know about video games, because we know plenty of older people that play a ton of video games. But in general, lawmakers tend to be older people, and older people tend to not know much about video games or the community or ecosystem around it. So the ESRB was created so that there would be a group of people that know what's going on in the industry to regulate the industry. These kinds of laws getting passed, it's bad for the industry because it means the industry took it too far.
Yeah. I mean, I think there needs to be something done, because some of these practices are clearly, like, especially if you start, like, this is the other thing that blows my mind, is they're focusing on, like, paid games and stuff where you get loot boxes or, you know, all of that. But if you start taking a look at, like, mobile free-to-play games and some of their practices and how they make money, it is by far more predatory than anything we've seen on any of the other ones. So that's where I get a bit
basically the AAA gaming market salivates over the idea of being able to act like the mobile gaming market. And yes, Wispy, you're right. Those self-regulators are still looking after the interests of the companies.
Well, yeah, because these are people in the industry, like, they are developers and, you know, all kinds of things.
But at the very least, they realize that they can't be super predatory with how they market their games. And that's one of the things, is, like, marketing, like dealing with monetization and stuff, is a little bit more of a gray area than trying to figure out what age group should watch a movie or should play a game. That's a fairly cut and dry kind of deal.
Well, yeah, with that, you can just be like, you know, these type of contents are okay for this group, this type of content for this group, you know, whatever. This is something where, like, we don't...
Psychological manipulation at times.
We don't even, like, fully understand how all of that works. But yeah, so what I was saying was, my cynicism about laws like this being passed is it's directed at the flashy, the big things that are getting attention, but it's not directed at the things that, from what I've seen, are far worse. And I think if they really wanted to address the core issues, they would focus on those.
But yeah, it's like I said, I don't think this will ever, you know, unless it gets super restrictive, of, like, just any loot box in general is deemed bad or something. But I really don't think it's going to be an issue for Arena and Guild Wars 2 the way they handle it. But
I'm just hoping it has a bit of a chilling effect.
Yeah.
In that it
if it at least makes companies think twice before they implement these systems, then it will accomplish something good.
Well, we're going to wait a few years, wait for it to die down, and then do it again.
Probably.
Or just figure out a different way to do it that bypasses these laws.
Oh yeah, which I don't know. I've seen that in the past with other things not gaming related. The government doesn't like to be shown that they were tricked or like someone found a loophole and exploits it. So please don't do that. But you know, go ahead.
I don't know. when it comes to this type of it, I feel like Europe's usually the first to adopt something, and then it kind of just spreads out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they tend to be more restrictive on all of this stuff. So they're usually the first to put down things like this.
How fast I hate you right now.
Me too. Put it through the internet now.
No, this is my steak. You can go get your own.
But then I have to cook it.
Yeah. That's medium rare. It's delicious.
Oh, dude.
There's mushrooms and spinach.
Stop.
It sounds to me like there's about to be a fight here.
You're
Fight.
welcome.
Make me cry.
A fight between maybe even worlds. Hey, I don't care either way. I'm able to go to either side. I could be linked or relinked. Speaking of relinking, the WvW relinkings for April 27th, 2018. So we do have them up here. And it's a dark day for me, but we'll do EU first. So Ilona Reach and Miller's Sound are now a team. Abaddon's Mouth and oh boy, I always hated saying this name. Dizagnor, I hope I'm saying it right, are a team. Gandara and Ring of Fire are one team. Desolation and Fissure of Woe are a team. Far Shiver Peaks and Aurora Glade are a team. Piken Square and Black Tide are a team. Vabi and Runes of Sirmia are one team. Seafarer's Rest and Underworld are one team. Jade Sea, Arbor Stone, and Fort Rannoch are one team. Argery Rock and Vizuna Square are one team. Whiteside Ridge and Gunar's Hold are one team. Kodash is by themselves. Riverside is by themselves. Drakkar Lake by themselves. And Baruch Bay by themselves. And for the NA side, we have Jade Quarry and Sanctum of Ra as one team. Yax Ben of Island Janthier, one team. Sea of Sorrows and Borealis Pass, one team. Fort Aspenwood and Anvil Rock are one team. Crystal Desert and Gate of Madness are one team. Storm Bluff Isle and Koenig are one team. Northern Shiver Peaks and Sorrow's Furnace are one team. Hedgenden, Robbie, Ferguson's Crossing, and Devona's Rest are all together. Tarnished Coast and Emery Bay are one team. Dragon Brand, Dark Haven, and Eridon Terrace are one team. And then Maguma's alone, and Blackgate is by themselves.
Wait, there are tier 1 servers? There are tier 1 servers that are linked?
I think Jade Quarry has been kind of...
Oh, wait, no. Blackgate and Maguma are by themselves. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was...
Well,
Don't make me read all those again.
Yeah. I mean...
I don't know, man.
Linkings are, like, okay just for balancing till they get the new stuff out. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, those are your pairings. So make nice with your new people, because heck, they might be your enemy the next day.
I think you're telling yourself that more than anyone else.
No, I'll always hate Isle Janthier.
Wow.
You know,
I
have my reasons. Yeah, I have my reasons.
I know how you feel.
But oh, and chat's saying Gandara and Ring of Fire are stomping tier 1 so far in EU. Nice.
Cool.
But yeah, so you know, maybe we have new relinkings. It's like a new guest comes over to your home. You want to look nice. You want to look good. You can do that in game with the gem store. And always thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. First up, we have the Primeval Dervish outfit for 700 gems. It is an outfit, so you can hide the head slot, but it's all or nothing. So, and this is based off of a Guild Wars 1 armor for the Dervish class, or profession, which we don't have a Dervish in Guild Wars 2.
They're teasing us for the next expansion.
Oh, if they do another expansion, if it possibly moves away from the Alonian area and then have a Dervish, I'm gonna be like, ArenaNet, what are you doing? Unless there's gonna be lore. Right. Oh, go ahead.
They learned from remains of the Sun Spears.
Oh, wait,
they got out.
Wasn't there a conspiracy theory at some point that there would be no more expansions now? Didn't somebody pop up with that at some point?
Oh, we need Cantha.
That's I was gonna say That would be an interesting route. I have not seen that, so
no. Well,
if you find that article, I'd like a good laugh because I don't think that's gonna happen.
Start introducing the elite specs through the living story instead.
Yeah, give them away for free. You have an interesting premise. If you find that article, definitely I want to see that link because I need a good laugh.
Yeah, I'll have to remember. I know I saw something about it. It was crazy. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I can't even imagine ArenaNet coming up with like. I hope ArenaNet saw that. They're like, really? You think that's gonna be like?
Can I just get the hood and the shoulders, please?
No, you may not.
Because like this would be this would be one of those pieces where it's the hood skin that also covers the shoulders, so you don't actually get the shoulder slot. Yeah, like I just want that. I don't care about the rest of the outfit. I just want the hood and the shoulder.
Well, I like the chest piece too, because with my Norns especially, I always have an issue with not being able to see their tattoos. So finding ones where their arms are shown and stuff is like, yay!
So you're saying you guys want it to be like pieced apart, like.
Yeah.
I wish we had a system like that in game that you could have like just like a headpiece or a shoulder piece or maybe in the expansion they'll release something like that, you know.
Yeah,
that'll be crazy.
For outfits, they don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, Chad's even saying that like the hood, it's like, yeah, it makes holes for the Asuran as you're seeing right now. It's
that's cool,
but doesn't have room for char horns.
No.
No,
I feel like it would be problematic if your horns stuck through a hood. Like, I don't know. That feels weirder than ears poking through. Ow.
But, you know, you're already... Well, I guess the real question is, have any of you picked this up yet?
Yes.
Paige.
Yes, I have.
I have not.
For those that know, I was Dervish main in Guild Wars 1, and that was the outfit I wore pretty much when I got it throughout all of my playing of Guild Wars. So, and I just remade it on my Thief, and it's glorious. And I don't know I'll ever.
I was gonna say when they show this off, what was it? Literally last week when we were talking about, so you could actually have a dervish or something, and we were like, oh yeah, your Thief could be it. You know, go Daredevil, get a staff skin, like the scythe staff skin. That's a couple that are out there. And we all had a nice little chuckle, and then this comes along.
Prophetic. We are clearly prophetic.
Yep.
Quick, everybody make a prediction about the next 3 weeks of the game. Go.
Abaddon.
No.
Do we have a Paragon outfit?
Yeah, well, it came with
the
it came with the expansion, like the collector's edition or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Spear Marshal
outfit.
Oh
yeah, that's true. Because I don't have a character for that just yet. It would look really weird on my Norn.
I want Elemental.
It does look really weird on a Norn, especially if you pick the bulkiest one. It looks like they crammed that person in there.
Yeah.
But you know, you get the outfit. You know, like I said, you need a staff skin to maybe do one of the side ones. It's like, you know, which one's gonna fit perfectly? The Halloween one doesn't really go with it. Well, they got you covered. They also released the Sun Touch Scythe for 600 gems. And this actually, like, while it may, I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, it looks so plain and whatnot like that.
It is the best scythe in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, if while this is playing, like, you might be able to see when it swings or uses a skill. You can kind of see a trail coming off the blade, which is probably a little hard to see, but actually people have slowed it down and have actually showed it off that it actually shows using an art, I think, of kind of all 5 of the original gods. So basically, as you cleave with this thing, it has like a trail of like the images of all 5 gods, which I have the image here as soon as there we go.
It's an amazing scythe. Like, if you just want an all-out scythe, like, it just looks great.
Yeah, has a good like the blade has a good metal polish to it.
Should probably unmute myself while I'm trying to say things. It's a very faithful adaptation of the Guild Wars 1 scythe.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I googled the Guild Wars 1 scythe, Sun Touch scythe. It has nothing on this one. Nothing. It looks like a walking cane, like that was buried underwater for years, compared to this scythe.
Well, maybe that's where Evan Nashblade found it and polished it up for everybody, made it real nice, added a effect where the god's like spirit images are in it. You know, he pimped your scythe from Guild.
Oh my god!
I'm like, it kind of shows like how far the game has gone, like how many years. I'm like, damn, pixels have gotten really good over the years.
Yep.
All we need now is just Abaddon.
So I can kill him again? Yeah.
What?
Excuse me? What? I'm sorry? Huh? What?
There we go. War v World factions. I'm on the Abaddon faction. I'll learn PvP to take you down, Age. Don't.
I'll wholeheartedly accept this.
Crap! Don't do this, Arena. I don't want PvP. But yes. So has anybody bought this, or are they planning on buying it?
I'm going to buy it. I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, for me, out of the two things, I'm probably leaning towards more of the scythe, because I mean, outfit, I run into the same problem. It's like you can't mix and match. It's very limiting, and it's like I already have kind of mostly the looks. I would like to, you know, if you could mix and match, mix things in there, but unfortunately you can't. The scythe, though, I like the trail effect, and I'm curious of how it's going to look on a necro, because other scythe skins tend to have like the ghostly black blade, sometimes even underneath the blade, so it looks even weirder. Like, so I hope it maps well for the other classes, because I think they're showing this on the Revenant. So
yeah, I was gonna say I want to use it on my Reaper. So
I don't play any classes that would use a melee staff, so I'm not gonna buy this.
But you might in the future, because things get new weapons and stuff.
Oh well. I can't justify a lot of gem store purchases unless I'm going to use it right now.
Yeah. No.
Like,
that's probably the problem I'm having too. I'm like, I could see a use for it, but would I really use it? Like,
yeah.
But I think it's very awesome, even in its, what I think a lot of people said, simplicity. But
yeah, I was really tame about it on Twitter, but in like 3 Discord servers, I'm like, I need this.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
right.
But some of the stuff that is back for a limited time: the Black Lion Garden Plot Deed and the Black Lion Hunter's Contract for 1,200 gems apiece. So, do you recommend either of those?
As long term, as if you buy them and use them daily, then you will get like a return, like I think it was a year and a half. So yeah, for me it is.
Yeah, because isn't the Hunter contract where you get the actual the other kind of mat, like materials, like tier 1, tier 2, like the crafting mats? Okay, that's what I thought it was. So
get all the way to T6.
Yeah, like the fangs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be pretty nice. Like, I remember when it first came out, everybody was like, you know, get the venomous poison sacks or whatever, and so they can be pretty handy if you hit those daily.
I just got the blood one, and it comes right into your inventory too, like whenever you log in. So at reset.
Oh, so you don't even have to go there? It just
no, it comes into your mail.
So the important thing to note is, while there's other things in the home instances, because you set this at the home instance, like what one you want to receive, other people can't utilize it like the nodes or anything like that. It's solely for your account. So if you do want this, you know, this is your opportunity.
Mhm.
But yeah, any other thoughts on the gem store?
Thank you for the outfit insight. Appreciate it.
It's a gem store update. Also, H, you went real quiet.
I did?
Yeah, I kind of know where you kind of lowered, but oh, and chat saying garden plot pays for itself quite quickly. So there you go.
I broke my mic in excitement.
It happens.
But yeah, so it seems like those might be two good things you might want to cash in on. While it's not lowered in price or anything, it's just another opportunity to snatch them up while you can. But maybe while you're collecting all this stuff from your home instance, maybe you can listen to some music with our first topic in Community Corner. So the Musicians Guild of Tyria event. There was a Reddit post by MBIT15 of the MGT, the Music Guild guild itself. But for people who don't know, it's a small NA music guild. They play music by hand, no macros when repping their guild. But they will be in each city of Tyria for a week starting Sunday, May 13th, holding competitions for original Guild Wars 2 songs. So guild members and non-guild members are allowed to enter. Macros are allowed. Winner will receive their choice of an instrument from the gem store, so that's pretty cool. They're also doing an in-game cosplay and name that tune competition. Prizes include blacklining keys and other in-game rewards. Awesome. And finally, a screenshot contest on Instagram. Winner gets a private MGT concert at the time and place of their choosing, and their choice of gem store items up to 800 gems. So a lot of cool stuff. Three nice little competitions.
Yeah. Pretty nice.
Are any of you going to enter?
Let's see. What could I actually enter?
I was gonna say the name that tune sounds interesting. I could do that.
Maybe I might do the in-game cosplay one.
Ooh. There's been some really cool in-game cosplays I've seen over the years.
No, just the 1 year.
There used to be a thread on MMO Champion where people were posting screenshots of random people cosplaying in Guild Wars 2 that we ran across.
Is that not? I thought that was sticky.
I don't think it is.
And I'm throwing the link in chat in case anybody wants to check out that their Reddit post about it. So, and as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, links are in description as well. But next up, we have, once again, we talked about this previously, the Miss Challengers event, a PvP tournament on May 5th at 11 Eastern Time, shoutcasted by Roy and Wooden Potatoes. It will be streamed on Wooden Potatoes channel, twitch.tv/Wooden Potatoes. They also plan on, I think we talked about this last time, the top 2 teams from Challengers move into Invitationals, which has the 6 best teams for an 8-team bracket playing for $2,000. But yeah, it's, definitely check that out. We'll throw the link in chat as well. But yeah, like I said, we talked about it last week, just kind of a friendly little reminder that, definitely mark it on your calendar. Next up in our community corner, someone that, if you were here during the after show last week, I, apologized immensely because we've constantly, they've been knocking out of the park on our Discord channel, because we kind of have a section for people if they're streaming or have any kind of content to throw it in there to, for any eyes to be on it. But Zacharyox, which I believe is still in chat, so but yeah, definitely check out. They mostly do PvP stuff. And it's not just like they've done the season stuff, but they've also had like fun little like one-on-one competitions. I remember seeing that. But if you go to twitch.tv/Zekriox, and once again throw that in chat as well. And I think if we've been here late, we've thrown a couple hosts to him as well. But I think, and maybe I assume he knows better than I do. I know this past week he was trying to reach 50 followers to closely get to that affiliate goal. So I don't know where he's at this moment, but you know, help him get to that affiliate goal. You know, help Guild Wars 2 streamers out. Because you know, we're the advertiser, so we gotta treat them well, right? That's what Arena wants.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He has one more. You're one more closer, is there?
Oh, he has one. I was like, he has one more? Like what? Also, last week we didn't talk about it, but still of note to talk about was Kit the Traveler. You know, was on the podcast a little while ago, but I'm sure if you're watching this, I'm sure you know of Kit the Traveler. But she had a Facebook post of basically, I think every week or like I forget how often she does it, but she kind of does like a little event that's kind of reminiscent of Guild Wars 1, where you had to give certain things to a traveler in Guild Wars 1.
Nick the Traveler.
And they would give you like a little prize. Well, she basically brought that into Guild Wars 2, and she kind of creates a story. And I think this one was she was trying to have a mount wash, like kind of like a car wash. And and basically it's definitely a good read. You know, it's definitely fun and interesting to hear someone create that in, you know, in a world that's already established. But there's the link. It's on her Facebook. But at the end it talks about like, oh yeah, if you send any piece of cloth or something, like that's the catch to it, like for this time around. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, worth checking out, and go show your love. Last up, we have the Crichton Herald. She just this past week came out with the Last Spear Marshal story about, and basically it's her talking about the journals of Talcora, which for people who don't know was a Guild Wars 1 hero that you got in Nightfall. And you know, I think I've said in the past, and I know I've said it during the after show and stuff, it's definitely awesome to listen to. And she even asks at the end, you know, if there's any other journals or kind of series of journals that you want to hear her kind of do a rendition of. She's taking, you know, comments. So once again, we'll throw it in chat if you want to go listen to it and maybe comment what you want to see. Maybe I saw someone in her comment section talk about the I forget what they were called, the journals that were in for about all the gods. Maybe just do the Abaddon one. Just saying.
He's not a god anymore. He's dead.
But yeah, it's
just crush his hopes and dreams more.
That's what I'm here for.
And also, it seems like we have the Guild Wars 1 10th year anniversary.
Yep.
Let's see what's
the long blog.
Holy moly.
That just came out today, actually.
I was going to say, it seems like it just came out today. So, breaking news. Which also means we didn't read it because it just literally happened. But, oh yeah, it's talking about the E3 for Everyone event in 2004. Yeah, lots of cool things. So if you want to see a history about it, like, definitely awesome. I'll throw the link in chat for people, and maybe we'll even talk about it on, show next week, just because, like I said,
Breaking
is happening right now, and I'd love to even go in more depth of like everybody's memories about it. So, if you want to start this week about talking about your memories of Guild Wars 1, Guild Wars 2, like favorite moments, maybe we'll even talk about them on the show in the YouTube comments. So
in our Discord server.
Yeah, or in our Discord server. There's loads of places you can do it. But I think that is it for this week. So, Jim, where can they find you?
I am found on Twitter at MalfanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. God, I wish we would get rid of that. For our Zero to Hero ranked PvP night, I've been playing Mesmer. No, I'm not joining the hype train. I'm not playing it because it's OP. I'm playing it because it's my least played character, and I'd like to learn Mesmer at some point. So, at the very least, I'm not bandwagoning. At least, that's what I like to tell myself. I'll see you all there.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch or on YouTube at Age Night Road, where you will not be seeing my least played profession, which is engineer in PvP, mostly because I have one win, and that is 100% win rate, and I'm not using that.
You sound like me.
Coward.
I'm not ruining the win rate. I'll play it on EU. But yeah, I stream. I'm making like a schedule for my life because I'm just getting home and exhausted. So I need to organize stuff. So hopefully that constitutes streaming as well. I've been doing like 3 nights a week right now. It's going pretty well. So Guild Wars 2, League of Legends, if nothing big happens. Yeah, should be fun. Come hang out.
Awesome.
Yay.
And Robin, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Arlie82. I've been streaming right now God of War, the WoW Battle for Azeroth beta. Now it's beta, not alpha. And randomly some Mythic Pluses for my guild. Maybe we're doing raiding. We're kind of at the end of expansion slump now, so I don't know what we're doing anytime. So I might be on here Zero to Hero some again, so that'll be fun.
For those that don't know, Arlie was one of the original Zero to Hero members.
I was, and then raiding started, and I had to go. Let's see. I think that's it.
Awesome. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And I've been streaming a little bit here and there. I do plan once May 2nd hits to hit Dauntless pretty hard, because they're gonna have a gap before open beta, which it's a free to play game. So once it goes to open beta, feel free to jump in. It's kind of a Monster Hunter-esque type game, but it's gonna be on PC. But basically their last closed beta phase, however far you get for progression, you're going to get like cosmetic rewards for it. So, got to bring the fashion wars to other games. That's how you get me. But if you are just popping at the very end, do stick around. We do a bit of after show, or we do also highlight this on Twitch. But if you want to watch this on YouTube, maybe that's where you prefer to watch recorded content. Just search Talking Skritt. It's usually the first one that pops up, and that goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you want to see breaking news of the 10th anniversary thing, and where we just don't have enough time to read and talk about it, apparently, you can show up live Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and we do a bit of an after show, pre-show, after show, where we just talk about games in general. So everybody in chat, please do stick around. We'll love talking to you guys more directly. And if you want to continue the conversation even further after that, I know it's crazy. We're always talking. We never shut up talking Skritt. Check out our Discord. Links in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or in the on our Twitch page itself. And this week I'd like to thank our Twitch hosts, 7-Bit Brian, That Chevron, Gallios_Sharpblade, or Shardblade, host of Ascalon, Jaibu Cole, what's switching on me, Guild Wars Monk, Serene Virus, Moonkiller NV, Shadows of the Dragon Podcast, and MMO Inks. And that is it for this week. And we will see everybody next week, and we'll see you in the game. Good night, everybody.
Bye.